There we go. All right, welcome into episode 32 of the Avetts and Beyond. My name is Todd Emanuele, and back for another episode. I've been waiting for this episode since episode 23 when we recorded with Alex Sosler before. Alex is back today. We're calling this the update episode because you've had some pretty big news in the last couple of days. Today's Thursday that we're recording this. On Tuesday night, you went to an Avett Brothers concert. Alex, thanks for coming on with me, by the way.
Yeah, it was my long shame that I'm finally able to put to rest.
Yeah, you don't have that burden on you anymore
That's right.
now.
That's right.
So let's just start with this. How was it?
What a loaded question. Well,
Yeah,
it was, you know how things are hyped up sometimes and
yeah,
you're kind of
sure.
nervous that like, man, what if I don't think it's that amazing?
I
Um,
was waiting for that for you to come on and be like, "Yeah, man, it sucked."
yeah, no, no, but it's hard to overhype, I think, the Avett Brothers. I think it was something that was moving and beautiful and compelling and amazing. Like I was blown away by how much I enjoyed it.
That's an awesome response, and that's exactly what I was hoping you would say. Because you've waited so long to see them. Uh, I mean, you put together this book about them, and do your feelings at all that you put into that book change after seeing them live? I imagine it did, right?
Totally. I think the most like it I wasn't my emotional register is from like 0 to 2. I'm not like an emotional guy,
Okay.
but honestly, it took the first 3 songs for me to like stop tearing up.
Wow. Wow, really?
And the reason it is like I was just
That's
it,
awesome.
I think so. There's this quote from Wendell Berry, who is a kind of a localist writer, agrarian writer, and he's novelist, poet. And he has this line. He's sitting with his dad, and his dad says to him, Tanya's his wife, named Tanya's a good woman. They're early in marriage, and Wendell's like, yeah, I know it. And his dad said, and you don't deserve a damn bit of credit for it. And I think like the givenness, like I didn't get into this project thinking like I didn't see him in concert, right? So like I didn't know the hype. I didn't know the fan base. I didn't like I kind of had ideas, but I didn't know.
Sure. Well, it's one thing,
And
like you kept talking about the documentary and basing a lot of it
yeah,
off the documentary, but seeing them in person, and no, I was the same way. I've only seen them twice, so I'm not that
yeah,
much further along than you. But once you see them live, it just takes everything to a whole other level.
it does. And so like it made me just so grateful, like, man, the givenness of my life that like
Hmm.
I kind of, the mystery of like this is something that worked out in my life that I was able to spend, a year-ish focusing on and writing on, and like just how beautiful it was. And it also like, the theology of David Bros. I think it made me think, like it reminded me of like the life of faith, of like how much did I know, like when I was, so whether tradition you're from, whether you're baptized as an infant or you're baptized as a believer, like when you're baptized into something, how much do you know of that thing?
Right.
Right? You sign up, you pledge your life, and you only get to know it like years down the line.
Sure.
And I felt like, oh, I had no right editing this book without seeing, like I didn't know what I was getting myself into. But just being so grateful that like this was the thing that I chose me, whatever.
Yeah, it's very cool. Now, what did it feel like after the show when you got home and you thought about it? Have you still come down from the concert? Like, I know it's only been a couple of days and you've had
Yeah,
stuff going on at
sure,
home
sure.
with your kids and stuff,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
what did the whole thing from start to finish and afterwards really feel like for you?
Yeah, that's a good question. Um, yeah, I mean, I think there was, like leading up to it, it was the anticipation, right? After
Sure.
so long, wanting to see them. and then like the gratefulness of the emotion of like I'm glad it lived up to the hype. And then just like you, I mean, the picture that was it Carol sent you who
Yeah.
well, like I looked at that picture, I was like, man, that's like the happiest I've smiled since like my wedding day. Like I
So
was
I think
like,
I made that comment on the post, like, this is a happy man right here.
yeah, just grateful and happy. I mean, I think is kind of the kind of marker of yeah, that experience. And yeah, like I tried not to say too much to like even my wife Lauren, just because like I wanted to process. I'm a mental processor before I'm a verbal processor. And so like yeah, it's just been kind of sitting with me that whole the whole experience, the kind of idea of gratefulness. And I think the other thing that kind of struck me like that was based kind of on my chapter, right, is right, I walked on kind of the bowl of Norfolk Arena, and the backdrop is Memento Mori art, right? It's
Right. I
flowers
noticed that.
and
Yeah.
skulls. And it was like,
That hit you
oh,
right then,
see,
right?
they're speaking my language, right?
Right, right.
And but then like they come out, right? Their first song is just kind of an instrumental kind of jam band thing that ends, with a solo. And just like that whole time, so it was that moment, right? That first song into the whole set list, I think for the most part, it was just like joyful defiance in the midst of death. You
Hmm.
know, like it doesn't erase the pain, it doesn't erase the sorrow, but we can stomp and dance and have a good time while death's lingering over us. Like it was just such a picture
That's like
perfect.
that is like the whole vibe of the Avett brothers, I think.
Exactly,
That whole thing of
exactly,
death hanging over their songs. It's in a lot of their songs. But
exactly. Yeah, and so it was just such like a that's what drew me to them, and then like that's the experience I was able to have. Yeah, just grateful.
that set list that you got at that show was amazing too, by the way.
Yeah.
Man, I was following along with it because I've never looked more forward to a concert that I've never been to than this, because I was so excited for you all like
Uh,
leading up to. I'm like, oh, we go a couple more days, Alex is going to the show. So I was following along. Like, people do like live, they're called couch tours. I don't know if you know that exists, but people in
mm,
the audience are posting on Facebook what shows or what songs are playing, so people
okay.
can follow along at home. Fans
Yeah.
fans are pretty rabid, you know
Yeah. Yeah.
that. So anyway, I was following along, like, oh my gosh, she's getting all these amazing songs.
Yeah.
And it turns out afterwards, I found out Carol actually told me or posted somewhere that they played every single that they put out that hasn't been on an album, like single songs, but one
Mm,
that they've ever written. Like, they almost played all of those singles, and
wow.
I don't know if that's ever been done before. So that was kind of a cool thing. But
Yeah.
man,
Yeah.
man, you
Totally.
got a great set list. What was
Yeah.
your favorite song they did? That's a tough
Oh,
one because it was
man.
probably
It is
just
a
like
tough
a
one.
blur at this point.
It is. It is. I think,
Should I play the Jeopardy music here? Well,
yeah, I know. It's so hard. I'm looking at the set list now, just kind of like remembering. Um,
what was your favorite song that you told me in the other episode we recorded?
I think I said No Hard Feelings, probably.
Okay, well, of course you got that song at the end.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. That was what they ended with, which is another kind of like, staring death in the face and,
I
you know,
that's why
ending with love.
they always play it last. It's the perfect
Yeah,
song to send everyone off on. I think it
it is.
makes you think a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, Murder in the City was probably up there.
I
Um,
did Scott tell a nice little story before? He always seems to tell a little story before that. I
I don't
haven't
think
seen many videos of the show.
yeah, I don't think he did tell a story. I want to say they played Once in Future Carpenter,
That Yeah, that one doesn't get played all that often. That's cool.
but maybe they didn't. Maybe I think I was just reflecting on it because it was what's the line? Uh
You can just sing the whole thing. It's okay.
yeah, I know, right? Um I was kind of reflecting on it. Yeah, but this is I don't think they played it, but I was thinking on this line that if you live the life you're given, you won't be afraid to die.
Right.
And that was kind of like the givenness of kind of this thing and in light of death, all that stuff. So I don't think they played it, but that line was kind of sticking with me. So yeah, let's
They
say
did play one of those songs off the Carpenter, though. It was I don't have the set list in front of me.
yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, I think that it's so hard, man. I don't know. It was just a blur of goodness. I mean, the one of the kind of memorable ones too is the violinist. I'm blanking on her name.
Tanya Elizabeth. Yeah,
Yeah, Tanya. She did like a Scottish jig solo that was pretty amazing too.
it's with the Real de Pendu. I can't remember the whole thing. It's like a long French title.
Yeah.
I had her on my show. She came on my
Oh,
show,
really?
and
Yeah,
she actually played that for me on my show. Like
really. I'm gonna
she
have to
played, yeah,
go
look
back
it
in
up.
the archives.
She played
Yeah,
it
I'll go back
right
in the
there
archives.
live for me and sang those. She goes, "Do you want me to sing the singing part too?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah,
For
yeah, I
you, yeah,
do." So she did. That was really cool, actually.
yeah.
So you want to give it a shot? No? Yes? No?
I'm
People would
gonna
like
pass.
that.
I'll practice a little bit more before
Okay,
I.
yeah.
Yeah.
Get your violin up to snuff, and then you come back on and play it again.
Sure.
But yeah, you had an amazing set list. One of the cool parts that I reached out to Pete. This was awesome. Pete Schroth, who's the lighting director, and
Mhm.
I asked him, and I didn't know if he'd respond to me or not.
Yeah.
But I'm like, hey Pete, Alex, who put together this book, Theology and the Avett Brothers, is going to his first show, and I wonder if you could hold the set list for him so he can get it after the show. He's like, absolutely. He goes, how is it his first show? I'm like, I can't answer that. I don't know.
It's a great question.
Yeah. So even he was wondering how you've
Yeah,
never been to an Avid show before, but you can't say that anymore. You've been to
that's
one,
true.
you loved it. It was great. Did you buy the poster?
I couldn't find I think they were may have been sold out by the time I got there.
Oh no.
I know. I didn't see it.
Now my next challenge, I'm gonna have to get someone to get a poster for you now because I think I saw the artist drop was today um,
Mm.
on their website, but they're probably long gone by now too.
Yeah.
That's tough. Well, you'll regret that one someday that you didn't get
Yeah, I know.
you
I know.
didn't get
I know.
that poster. Do you have the set list by you right now? Do you have it
I
right
do.
there? Let's see it. All right. No frame yet. All right.
Yeah, no frame yet.
Pete's awesome. His art, I don't know if you've looked up his art.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
He's great. He is a
Super good.
super talented guy
Yeah.
and yeah, really talented. If you enjoyed the lighting of the show, he's amazing.
Yeah.
His artistic mind with the lights, it's crazy how
Yeah.
it's just it's perfect with the Avett brothers because
Yeah. Yeah. See.
he's just got a great eye and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
But he's a super nice guy, and he of course saved it for you. Carol very nicely went and picked it up
Yeah.
after the show,
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
picture that is the picture for this episode on Facebook. That is a great picture.
Yeah.
She sent it
Like a
to me.
kid
I'm
in a
like,
candy store. Yeah.
exactly. That's exactly what I thought. I'm like, oh my God, is he happy there or what? Uh, so let's talk about the book a little bit. I know we had a whole episode on this before, but how's that whole thing been going? Have you heard any feedback, anything from anyone on it?
Yeah, I think good. I don't have numbers or anything or how
Yeah.
well it's going, but like I'm always surprised. Like I was talking with one of the contributors, Jeff Porter, who I think or Jeffrey Tabone, who I think had the first chapter of the book, and um The Good Life According to the Avett Brothers. And he was saying that he went to a study center, maybe someplace in Iowa, and they're like, "Oh, I've heard about that book. I ordered it for the study center." And so I'm always just surprised at like the reach that it's had, and yeah, it's kind of its interest. And that's kind of like, the beauty of the givenness of things. Like I never fathomed it would get traction. It was just kind of like an interest project that, yeah, I kind of was glad to put together.
Well, now you've seen how the Avid fan base is in person,
That's
and you can
true.
understand how does it feel to be so well embraced by the Avid community? Because I know a lot of folks that bought the book that
Yeah.
are fans of the band.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, man, like I think the last few days have just been like this I'm just grateful. I'm just super, super grateful. Um, yeah, I guess you never know what you get into until you get into it. But
Right.
yeah, I'm just grateful.
Did anyone have you sign your book while you were at the show?
I was gladly unrecognized. So
I wasn't sure because I had mentioned it to some people that were going.
yeah,
Bring
yeah,
your book if you have it. I'm sure he'd sign
yeah.
it for you, but
No,
you stayed incognito, huh?
that's right. I don't imagine I'm a big enough deal that people would recognize me in the street.
Maybe not. Maybe the next show though. Look out,
Maybe,
because that
maybe.
picture's been all over the place now. You holding that set list.
That's right. That's
So
right.
when is the next show? Do you have the next one booked already?
I don't have the next one booked, but I'll tell you, I mean, this was a 7 hour drive, 7-ish hour, 6.5 or so hour drive. And it's gonna be hard for me to not go do another show that's within 7 hours or
Yeah,
so.
man. Well, I mean, they'll play right around you in North Carolina,
Yeah,
several times. So you got to go to those,
I
right?
hope so. Yeah, and I haven't seen that they're playing New Year's Eve. They usually play
That
in
hasn't been
Charlotte.
announced yet, but
It hasn't been announced yet,
they have to. They
right?
normally announce it by now.
Yeah, it's a
So,
tradition. So that's what I'm hoping for is that we can make that happen. But
oh my gosh, I would love to go to a New Year's Eve show, and if you
yeah,
don't buy the poster there, that would be bad. See, now
that's
we
right.
found something else to pick on you about.
That's right. That's right.
You didn't
That's
buy the
right.
poster. You couldn't buy
Yeah.
it. It's not that you weren't going to, you just
No, no,
couldn't.
no, no, no. Yeah, keep on like harassing me about little things that I haven't done yet, and then it just keeps me going.
Yeah, right. Let's see. Have you gone to Jim Avetts' house yet? I know
Not yet.
you guys were talking to each other, so
Yep, yep. Hopefully, yeah, that may be another update. But yeah, I'm hoping. I know I'll be in Charlotte this fall for a few different going to a wedding, and then I have a good friend in Charlotte, so I'm hoping to
how far
skip
away
over
from
there.
them are you?
It's only about 2 hours.
Oh, no, that's still 2 hours. Is a long
Yeah,
ways if you got kids and stuff.
that's true.
Not
That's true.
easy
Yeah,
just to drop
kids make
everything and
everything
go.
hard. Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
you got to go visit Jim. I mean,
yeah, yeah. I
go
know.
at
It's
I heard if you go, you got to go at breakfast time because Susie makes like amazing breakfast for people. So
noted. Yeah,
yeah,
noted. Okay, I'll make
just
that happen.
go over there nice and early and have some
That's
breakfast.
right.
All right, man. This was I've been dying to talk to you to get your thoughts on the show. I'm so happy that you had a great time. Who did you go with your wife?
I did. Yeah,
Oh, that's cool. Okay. I
yeah,
didn't I was wondering, I didn't ask you before who you were going with.
yeah,
How
yeah.
did she like it?
Yeah, she likes it a lot. Again, I think right. I'm kind of in the deep you know, I don't know what to call it, the deep layers of it. So I think there's um some things I appreciate. Like you can just kind of appreciate different layers of depth that like
Sure.
even me going for the first time and like I'm sure I didn't appreciate all the layers of depth. She had a great time. She liked it a lot, and I think it was, yeah, she could tell kind of my love cup was filled from going afterwards.
That's cool. Was she a fan before or just
She
along?
was,
She
yeah,
was? Okay. So she was
yeah.
it her first show too? It must have
It
been.
was her first show too. Yeah,
Oh, that's cool. That's
yeah,
cool.
it was
So
great.
where are you gonna hang that set list up? On that wall behind you there or
I think it may be in front of me here. I
okay.
got a nice wall here, but it could be maybe right here. We'll
Okay.
see.
All right. Save some room for that poster. I'm gonna work
I
on
will.
that for
I
you, okay?
will. Yeah,
I,
I got spots for
I've got people that are amazing and that these fans will do anything for folks. So I seriously I'm gonna work on that for you. Someone will
it.
come through. Someone will come through. All right, Alex. What else you got going on right now? Book wise, anything wise that
Yeah,
you want to talk about?
sure. Yeah, I got two projects that are pretty much completed. One's kind of in editorial phases, should be out, I think, next May.
Okay.
And that book's on spiritual formation. So it's basically how do we grow in the life of faith? And so I kind of take it from, it's called A Short Guide to Spiritual Formation, Truth, Beauty, Goodness, and Community for the Life of the Soul, or something like that. But I take kind of these four streams of truth, goodness, and beauty and community and say kind of like that's the broadness of kind of traditions seeking truth, virtue, and compelled by beauty,
Mhm.
and kind of wrapping that in community is how we grow. And so that's out in May from Baker Academic. And then I'm just finishing up a book with my friend Gary Ball, and that's due September 1st. And that's on theology and the arts. We kind of focus on the visual arts, and it's called Sacramental Imagination: Connecting Art, Spiritual Vision with Artistic Practice.
Hmm.
So kind of the talking to artists about like vision being the way you see the world and developing the way you see the world, not purely materialistically or reductionistically.
Yeah.
It's just all there is, and not just bypassing, the material to get to the spiritual lesson, but really kind of trying to hold the tension of material and spiritual. And when our vision's affected that way, as we read scripture, as we read the world, that we create out of that vision.
Hmm.
And so that's
Is,
that. And then
is this a
third,
project you've already started working on, or?
yeah, so that's due. It's pretty much, we're wrapping it up, kind of
Oh,
editing
okay.
now. It's due September 1st.
Oh,
So
that's real
that
soon. I say it'd
yeah,
be
probably,
cool to talk to a guy like Pete Schroth about
oh yeah, totally.
his artistic eye and stuff.
Yeah.
But I guess
And
it's too late for that at this point.
yeah, no, but it is, I mean, I think it's amazing how many artists have, if not spiritual practices,
Yeah.
either, quasi spiritual or at least ritualistic practices that they enter the studio with, focusing. Even Rick Rubin, right? Like I just read
Yeah.
his The Creative Act, A Way of Being, I think it's called. And that's basically what he says. I use a quote kind of in one of the introductions to the chapters, where he says art is a way of seeing the world. And really that's what we're trying to kind of say, okay, what to be a
Yeah.
Christian artist is not just putting like a ichthus fish on your art or like painting biblical scenes, right? But it's
Right.
a way of seeing the world that's enchanted, mysterious, that invites kind of deeper contemplation. Um, and so, yeah, that's that book. And then the last one that at least is in the foreseeable future, I'm editing a book with my friend Claudia Choi. And it's something like what the title is developing, but it's hip hop theology, only the lover raps,
Hmm.
which is a play on this guy named Joseph Pieper, who says only the lover sings. And so it's an edited volume like the Avett Brothers, but it's
Yeah.
kind of hip hop music. And so we're focusing kind of on secular hip hop, everything from Nas to Toby Niguiwe to Kendrick Lamar. So kind of some redemptive themes, but how does kind of hip hop play in the world, and redemptive themes that are kind of featured in that. So
That's
that
awesome, man. You're all like all over the place with
it is. Yes, I've one of the guy who wrote the forward to Avett Brothers, James K. Smith. I heard him say one time that he has intellectual ADHD. And I feel the same way. Like I'm just interested in the world, and that it's pretty broad.
that's cool though, because you can
Yeah,
do, I mean, do whatever you want. And
yeah, yeah,
I think people will enjoy that. The last two especially sound really interesting to me.
yeah,
When
yeah.
when does that book that's due September 1st, when will that be out? Do you know yet?
Yeah, probably it's a typically about a year, so
Oh,
probably
okay.
fall next year, something like that.
That's cool. Well, keep us informed on that. I look forward to that one.
Absolutely.
And we'll check it out.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to promote a website? Anything you got going on?
Yeah, you can find me at alexsosler.com. I mean, it's pretty basic and bare, but that's my online presence, I guess. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else. I'm trying to think. I think there was one more thing that I imagined was important that I thought of, um, but it's not coming to me.
Next episode. You'll remember
Next,
as soon as we hang up. I always
yeah,
do that.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Uh, but no, I think yeah, grateful is the way that is the word that kind of hangs over the experience, and
that is, I love
in
that.
in the joyful defiance in the midst of death. I was kind of emailing with Bob Crawford a little bit afterwards, just thanking him, and that was another cool thing, like how much, you know, I think, Bob not being a brother, you don't know what fans think of him, but like anytime he had a solo, like,
Oh man, they
people
go
love it.
crazy. They
Yeah,
had a
and he's
part.
so
I did see a clip of a video where he was singing part of a song, one of the few lines
yeah,
that he has, and the place
yeah,
always goes crazy when
yeah.
Bob sings.
And
But
he's just such a
he's not a brother, but he is part of the family. I
he's
mean,
yeah,
the whole
yeah,
band is so close. They are a
yeah.
family, and I love it.
Yeah.
It's
And
just so
like I
great.
know, like I've interacted with him, so like I just know how kind-hearted he is.
Yeah,
And so it
definitely.
was cool like that other people are on the same page. They know, you know.
Absolutely. The fact that
So
you said you're not an emotional person and the first three songs brought you to tears, that is so cool because I expected my first show, I was expecting to be the same way. I was
yeah,
shocked I didn't tear up because I was just having so much fun. I was there
yeah,
with my daughter, we were having a blast. And
yeah,
afterwards, it hit me like, I thought I was going to cry through the whole show and I didn't once. So to hear that, I mean, that's pretty moving. That's pretty cool.
yeah. No, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
Next show will be coming soon,
Next show,
guaranteed.
yeah. Yeah,
One, you want
TBD.
you're not going to be one and done. That's for sure.
No, no.
They're too awesome live.
I
It's way
know.
too much fun.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how I could ever pull off going to like their Mexico 4 day
Oh my god, I
thing.
would love to do that.
It's like in the middle of the semester. I don't think I could do it, but I'm like dreaming of like that would be perfect, you know.
Take a week off, man. You can do it. It's not cheap. I've seen how
It's
much people spend on this stuff. It's
I
crazy.
know.
But
It is.
that's like bucket list stuff. I would
Oh, totally.
love to do that. Because
Yeah.
you're not just seeing the Avett brothers. There's a whole bunch of
Right.
great artists that are there.
Totally. Yeah.
And
Gregory Allen
you
has
get to hang
stuff.
out with
Everyone's-
them basically. You're just
Yeah.
mingling with them. It's
I know. Yeah.
I got to do
Yeah.
that. Maybe
Yeah.
when you go, I'll go, and
Yeah.
we can hang out. That sounds like a deal. Might have to work that out after retirement or something like
That's
that.
right. That's right. That's right.
But oh, Alex, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. I'm so
Yeah.
glad that it all worked out.
Yeah.
And you had a great time. I've
No.
been dying to
Yeah.
talk to you about it, like I
Yeah.
said.
Thanks so much for connecting with Pete and
Oh
having
yeah.
me on again. And it's always good to talk with you and talk about the Avetts brothers. Nothing better.
All right. Till next time. We'll
All
do it
right,
again
man.
at some point when you got some books ready to come out, and we'll get you back on the show again.
All
All
right.
right.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, Alex.
All right, bye.
Bye bye.